Well, hey everybody. We are here, and from one subject to the other, we're talking about this is a NFL vlogger special
Hall of Fame historian, and also a
board member.
voter for the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame. Hello, Vinny Lospinsuso. That's who I am.
Hey, when that Pennsylvania Hall of Fame thing? What is that? What's going on there? What? What?
Oh,
What?
I said in a previous vlog that when I went to
Oh,
Pittsburgh, I got my credentials and I'm able to vote for that Hall of Fame.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I said in a previous vlog.
Yeah, okay. You did say that. You did say that, folks. We're here to talk about a subject of high interest to a number of people. And first of all, thank you for joining me earlier when I released that. Did you know, Vinny, that the Oakland Athletics' new ballpark in Las Vegas will gain them $757 million of revenue in its first year?
Doesn't shock me. It's going to be it's going to be the shiny new toy for the city of Las Vegas, and it'll be a hot commodity for at least the first year. I'm not sure if they're going to actually go through with not having a roof, because I think it's a really bad idea if they don't have one.
Oh, they'll have one. They'll be retractable. I remember Dave Cobble told me that on an interview
Good.
last year. Yeah, it's always been a retractable roof. So yeah.
Good. You have to. There's no way you could have an open air stadium in the sweltering heat of Las Vegas. That's just not feasible.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, especially for the shiny new toy. A lot of people are going, "Hey, we have a new baseball team in Las Vegas." I mean, well, not a new team, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But it's going to generate a lot of money for the city, tourists, and it's going to get more. The A's are going to be more relevant in the eyes of the general public. So yeah, it doesn't shock me. It could get higher potentially. Who knows?
now we're on to another subject. On Friday, the Supreme Court shocked the world by making the decision to end affirmative action in colleges and college admissions. Now, for me, as a person who grew up and lived in California and still lives in California, I still have my place in Adams Point. I'm here in Fayetteville County, Georgia, for my mom. Frankly speaking, I'm used to it. Now, you would say, what do I mean, Vinny? What I mean by that is in 1996, the California Regents took a vote to end affirmative action at the University of California.
Heard about that actually.
And that was 1996. And so, um, when were you born?
1999.
Okay, so that was 3 years before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 3 years before you were born, I was at the press conference where a man by the name of Ward Connolly came up to give a speech. Ward Connolly is African American, and Ward, to that point, acted like he was always angry with us for thinking that affirmative action was needed. And he is a black Republican who
Of
went
course.
through that way, which I don't begrudge him of. But my sense of Ward was that Ward hated being black. And so when the press conference came up, I was fortunate enough to get out the second question. I was trying to get the first, but I asked Ward, and you could see I'm trying to find the video. Somebody's got the video around, but you can see Ward Connolly just kind of gin it up, get ready to take on this black guy that was going to get after him, make fun of him, for taking away your affirmative action and everything. And I knew he was waiting for that, so I decided to trip him up to see where he lived in here. And I said, "How does it feel, Mr. Connolly, to be regarded by some as a hero?" And he paused for a full minute.
You really have to think about it.
Yeah, he says, "Well, I don't really feel like a hero." And then he said something to the extent of this needed to be done. Uh, but I did that because, like Clarence Thomas, both of them have conducted themselves in a way that communicates they don't like being black. Now, let me explain what I mean. Not liking you're black has nothing to do with interracial dating. Nothing. You can, in fact, I'll tell you where I learned this a long time ago. It was my great Skyline High School teacher, John Rizzo, who always, stylish man, would always say, I'm Italian. I'm Italian. And he was actually, as it turned out, dating. I'm not going to put her name out there, but I was so in love with her. But he was actually dating her, my high school classmate at the time, unbeknownst to me until later. I figured it out when they both got into his Alfa Romeo convertible, and I was
Oh,
like, I want one of those cars. But
doing the dirty with it?
at any rate, my whole point was that he communicated this idea that, and he had different friends and everything else, but he had communicated this idea that he was comfortable with who he was as an Italian man. He was proud of it in a way that I think some of us as African Americans struggle to be because we've been beaten down on so much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the point I'm making is that uh, fast forward to today, and in 1996, what I sensed in Ward was one of people like us, like me, but he wasn't saying I'm proud to be black. That never came out of his mind. All right, it was I don't want you to have these because, and he gave all the usual legal reasons. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but if you take a look at how he's conducted himself, and then Clarence Thomas, they don't like it. Now I've met many people who uh, have been in racial relationships, and there's no correlation between how they feel as an ethnicity about themselves and who they date. For a simple reason, love is love is love. Okay, people
Mm-hmm.
choose their lovers for different reasons. Uh, a lot of different reasons that are as dramatically different as there are people.
Of course.
But with respect to taking that off the table, there are those of us who feel like they don't trust other of us. It comes out in different ways. I was just at the store here. In fact, I made a live stream myself driving around in the cart at Publix. But what I didn't have on that live stream was an elderly African American gentleman who was really angry with the world and talked about he didn't trust anybody. And then he told the young lady who was working there, even you. I mean, he was going through it.
Wow.
And no, he was not a happy guy.
What would happen in his own personal life for him to feel that way?
Well, a lot of it has to do with his personal black experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But his personal black experience, from what he said to me in the small group, it wasn't even a small group. It was just me, him, and the lady. It was an empty store. But the idea with the message that I got from him was that a lot of people who look like me and the lady, if, as they say, did him wrong. And as an elderly person, he was not shy about talking about it. So here we
Yeah.
are, you know. So here we are today, uh, in an environment that I grew up in. I grew up where Ward Connolly created this environment where college admissions were not a consideration, and that was 1996.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized at that point was the myriad number of people who understood the black problem and the black experience and how it negatively affected getting into college. And they quite literally built new ways to make sure that African Americans did get into college. And that's a good thing. So my point is, I know the rest of the country is shocked, but I have to admit to you, Vinny, when I woke up and I heard the decision, I thought, wait a minute, I thought that was illegal already. But that's what happened. That's what being in California will do
Yeah.
in that situation.
I know for me in New York, affirmative action has always been in place. They've mentioned it a little bit more. Um, so seeing affirmative action get struck down was a bit shocking, but not that shocking considering, Trump added three, very conservative Supreme Court justices, Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and of course, Brett Kavanaugh. So seeing this, and also the other, the way that they were able, I think it had something to do with being allowed to discriminate against gays, like that. Ugh. Like the more I see this, the more I just wish Supreme Court justices had term limits instead of lifetime appointments. Honestly, that's how I felt. I felt disgusted as an American, and I shouldn't be saying that knowing that July 4th is 2 days from now. But to be honest with you, Zenny, I felt disgusted. I I'm sorry. No offense to anyone else that feels differently. It's completely fine. But for me personally, I felt disgusted to be an American. I mean, granted, there's many benefits, yeah, but for in that short time when I heard that news, I felt disgusted, and I felt that those judges brought great shame to this nation and makes us look bad throughout the rest of the modern Western world.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not a good look. My thought now though is regarding the Rooney Rule and how this affects the NFL. Now, originally I invited our fellow board member Bill Carroll on to talk about this. This is our idea.
Yeah.
He's not here, but in talking about this program, Bill had said that well, it's only for college admissions, and his thought was that it wouldn't impact the NFL. What do you think before I give you my thought?
I disagree with him. I think it will definitely impact the NFL, mostly because I think this will, in a way, the whole slippery slope idea. This will, in a sense, kind of say, okay, we'll chip away a little bit of this, chip a little bit of that. There's more and more ill. The Rooney Rule, in my personal opinion, it's more of a Rooney suggestion, a Rooney nudge, a Rooney contemplation, as opposed to an outright rule. And I think with affirmative action being taken away from colleges, I think especially in states like, where affirmative action is removed, like California or Florida, or Washington State, for instance, those are just ones off the top of my head. You're going to see those states and the teams that are there in those states a bit less likely to want to go ahead with the Rooney Rule. And but not just those states. I think just in general, the vibe that could probably lead to owners is that they'll probably use like a black candidate or an Asian candidate or two just to check the boxes, just so that way the league shuts up more, and they'll be more obvious about it than they already were before. So I personally disagree with Bill. I think this only encourages the owners to disregard or walk around the Rooney Rule. Personally, that's my opinion. What do you think?
I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see what the league, says. There are some organizations, as I think about it, that have already defiantly stepped up and said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to continue in with our practice of paying attention to the need to have more a more diverse group of people within our organization." Mm-hmm. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually looking at the NFL website to see if there has been any alteration.
Now, I don't think go out and say it. I think you just see it in the news, and I think their actions will speak louder than their words. Essentially, what I'm saying.
There hasn't been anything posted in terms of a statement by Commissioner Goodell since the Supreme Court decision. The number one bit of news on NFLcommunications.com is NFL and IFAF announce Justin Jefferson as a global flag football ambassador. That was 6/29/2030, a day before the Supreme Court decision. And then, of course, that same day we had NFL suspends 3 players indefinitely and one other for, if you're wondering, I'm looking at here, it's right here. Oops, excuse me, not there, but it is here, there. That's the list of headlines on the NFL media website. Okay, nothing about it, nothing. So, does this indicate that the league doesn't care, or is tone deaf, or they haven't figured out the right words, or maybe they're thinking they should leave it alone? What do you think?
All the above.
Wow.
I think all the above. I think there's a part of me that feels like they're also kind of leaving it alone a little bit because they don't want to piss off some people. Because, but be honest, whatever they say, and if the people on like Daily Wire or those other places would probably pick apart and say the NFL is woke. See, they're caving into the woke mob. You know, they stole the Redskins. That. I also know that them not saying anything kind of gives them that kind of leniency, but also not saying anything could also give another message as well. So I think, like I said, this is going to be a situation where I think the actions will speak louder than the words. Whether that's no words at all or a whole statement, whatever they do in terms of, selecting or hiring, that will speak volumes compared to any sort of pamphlet they reach out.
Do you think that the NFLPA? I wonder if the NFLPA has made a statement about it. Have you seen anything?
I have not looked at the NFLPA personally, but if any of them would, I think if I had to choose between any of the two that'd be more likely to, I think it would be them. Just because this is where they. I mean, they just partnered up with I forget who the game studio is, but they have a game coming out. There's a game coming out called Wild Card Football or something like that. That has Colin Kaepernick as like the star pole. Like he's. So I think they'd be more likely to say anything compared to, let's say, like the NFL itself. See, June 30th, June 29th. June 29th, Staple Playground's latest arcade action game, Wild Card Football. That's they sent it with D. Murray Smith to Lloyd Howell, executive director of the NFL Players Association. Serving the players has been an experience of a lifetime. So far, they've not said anything outright. They did not make out a formal statement. It's just, a new guy they have on board. They also retweeted a post they had about Calais Campbell meeting with kids in Atlanta. But they also retweeted Tyrann Mathieu upset with all the firings on ESPN. So nothing really much at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. What I've seen is we've got the NFLPA decision that I just showed you. And now what I'm now looking for, though, and what I'm looking at is something that I find, one of those things that makes you go, and that is, let's see, stop that screen, go to present, share screen. And it's one of those unexpected tweets that came into my view when I typed NFLPA and affirmative action. And it's this one. You can't really see it unless I zoom in on it. It's kind of hard. Here it is. Let me zoom in on it. View, zoom in, and then view, zoom in. And this blue chip talent guy who actually has 2,399 followers, pro sports publications, print media, advertising, athlete endorsements, and out of the box marketing promotions. tweets May 28th of last year, March 28th of last year, sickening. More
It's terrible.
actioning blank instead of best person for the job.
Well,
Response to the NFL requiring every team to hire a minority or female offensive coach. But this is the kind of reason I ask this, because you have people who are in this so-called media, which sometimes rubber stamps white supremacy behavior, who put this sort of thing out there, and maybe he's one of the more vocal ones, but he's not a sanctioned NFL guy. But that doesn't mean they're sanctioned NFL press that don't have the same feeling.
not only that, there's one little caveat I should mention. Whenever Florio makes any kind of a post on Twitter, you always see the right leaning mob just get angry about whatever he says. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if it's a normal news report, if he's stating his opinion, no matter what he says, the right side of the aisle just goes after him and said, "Oh no, don't do this. You're ruining this and
true.
that." I don't know. Florio attracts those people in particular. I don't know why he. It's like he's like a dab of honey, and all like the mosquitoes and the bees just flock to it. It's
He
just
knows it though, and he feeds that. He has a long history of feeding this, Vinny. I remember in 2005 when he was just getting started, 2006, 2007, excuse me, with Pro Football Talk, and he put up a post which featured a cartoon of the chef from South Park, the African American gentleman who had the eyes, and everything.
yeah, chef. You know,
And it was racially inappropriate. And I said, and I criticized him openly on my blog and in his comments, and I wrote him an email requesting that he just take it down, which he, to Mike Florio's defense and credit, did. He did straighten that out, but I had to, basically introduce him to a public flogging before he did, because Florio started off with this idea that he was going to make this website based on basically black guys getting arrested, because even if there was a white guy that was getting arrested in the NFL, you were far less likely to hear about it because I paid no attention to it until he got a criticism and he started paying a little attention to it.
yeah. The
But
funny thing about it though is like
he was
Florio
basing
and
lights and traffic on it.
yeah. The thing too with Florio is that he's gone more liberal, at least vocally, but the people that are mostly angry with him are people on the right side of the aisle. Like
Yeah.
they see him as like I've seen depictions of him with like the pink, Women's March beanies. I've seen ones of people putting like dyed his hair, stuff like they make him like they make him like that stereotypical social justice warrior, hammer and sickle person, or I don't know the right terminology for it, so pardon me. Just one of those very extreme left. They always paint anyone they don't like as like this extreme left wing person. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but still.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see where this all goes. My guess is part a wish fulfillment, a wish request, but also a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an educated guess based on study. And I believe the NFL, when pressed, will put out a public face in support of its policies.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as to what they do in the back door, I think they'll continue to do that.
Of course.
But no one wants to be thought of as that person, you know, as much as maybe some people are that person. What I mean by that is that person who is hostile to diversity, hostile to, uh, there's no badge of courage in that, folks. You get no great monetary rewards out there. So, hey, Vinny, let's say this. Let's say you take us out with a final thought on this, because the fireworks are starting to pick up out here, and we're about to get bombarded in our happy 4th of July early. But yeah, when we can pick this up, do a part two. We'll figure out the schedule for the rest of the week. But it's about to get noisy out here, my friend.
I would say that, like I said, regardless of what the NFL says or doesn't say, the actions will speak louder than any words.
Yes.
I do think, though, that if those actions are shown to the public, the NFLPA has to respond.
Yeah.
No question about it. They can't dance around it because a lot of people think the NFLPA is not strong enough. If you are a member of the NFL Players Association, and if you feel, and if you get the sense that people want stronger leadership from them, if people want to see that, you have to make a statement. I don't care what you say, and you don't give like a band-aid on the open wound. Don't give this whole idea of trying to play it cool. No. You got to make a bold statement if you see any big change. Because not even talking about the affirmative action, the fact that companies might not be allowed to give stuff like to gays or whatnot, that could affect LGBT hirings potentially. And there, even though some, unless you're Carl Massa, no one else has really come out in the closet openly. But obviously, there are other gay players in the NFL. It's impossible for there not to. And if you want to stand up to your players, if you want to make a stance against owners and executives and other people, part of the NFL or team leaderboards, essentially, you have to make a statement and you have to make sure you fight on it until you win 100%, not 50, not 90, not even 99. Try to go for as much of 100% as you possibly can, or else you're only going to get more screwed than you could already potentially are.
Last word. Hey, Vinny, stick around in the background, folks. We'll be back more on this later in the week. Happy 4th of July. And if you're going to go outside, I only have one word of advice. Duck.
Yes.
That is this broadcast. All right.
See you guys.